I wanted to explore your opinions on the whole kind of Me Too aspect of this. All right.
I I do think.
Yeah.
Um,
Because there's
see. The thing is, that's we know from statistics.
hmm
I'll use the term grape
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
sexual assaults.
hmm
The conviction rates among them are pitiful. Yeah,
Right.
and there are there's an epidemic within certain elements of community where it's accepted, where the sexual assault and rape of women and even a certain treatment have been accepted for a long time, and there had to be a seismic shift
Right.
in regards to male female interactions and that power dynamic.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm glad the conversation
hmm
is being had, and I'm glad that certain things are now beginning to come out, because it's important that women feel safe
hmm
in the workplace and in
Yeah.
any space that they are. Yeah.
Right. But the reason why I bring
How?
this up, because I just want to, I
Yeah.
don't want you
Go
to
on.
take it from a different angle
Yeah.
than necessarily where I was
So
intending.
what was you asking me then?
Right. So what I was going to say to you is that if you look in, um, looking our culture in terms of like UK
Uh,
celebrity culture,
yeah.
we've got in from come from the black community, we've had what Noel Clark,
Yeah.
yeah, the producer of
Yeah.
Adulthood,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bulletproof,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
All of
know,
that. Yeah.
tremendous
Yeah.
talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over the last however many decades. You've got young Philly,
Yeah.
who popped up recently and was doing really interesting things on social media.
He's cool.
I wasn't I'm just throwing it out there. I
Weren't
wasn't
familiar with his work.
yeah, I wasn't overly familiar with
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
work,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but from what I saw, he looked like a talented young brother doing his thing, yeah. And more recently, around the time of filming this, we've got
Michael Ward.
Michael Ward, the
He's been
fella
charged. He's been
from
charged.
Top Boy, who's
Top
been
boy. Charged.
charged. All right,
Yeah.
so
Charged.
slightly different people. Most of the other guys were accusations, I believe, that haven't been proved.
Who's that? Who the other guys?
Noel Clark and
Noel
with
Clark was accusations.
and the people pulled out afterwards, but he lost his
He
career.
see. Okay.
So let me
Let
get
me
some
put a question to me, and I can answer based on what you're
All
saying.
right, so I'm just going to summarize from what I know. Yeah,
No, put a question to me.
I'm going to put a question to you, but I'm going to give it context.
Mhm.
So our fella Noel Clark had accusations
Mhm.
that he was a bit of a bully and he was inappropriate
Mhm.
in the workplace. Yeah,
Mhm.
a libel case that he put against it. Yeah,
Mhm.
and all of the people who made the accusations in the end fell away. So there was
Mhm.
no actual charges in his case. Yeah,
Yeah, but no charge was ever brought to him.
no charge.
At no point did the police ever contact him. No point.
Correct.
It was a
Correct.
complete media. It was
Witch hunt.
media led.
It's a media witch hunt, right?
Yes.
Cool. Then you got young Philly
Charges,
charges.
and he can't even come back into the country.
Fine.
Right.
And then you got this other fella
Charges.
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 All right.
Yeah.
So couple of different scenarios, right? Some with no charges, some with charges. Agreed? Right.
Agreed, yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is what is because when we talked earlier on about red pill,
Yeah.
right? Red pill is in essence a community of men, as I mentioned earlier on, who have gripes against the way that they're being treated in society.
Yeah.
And think that they are being treated unfairly, which ties into adolescence, right?
Mhm.
Adolescence is the show in my mind, which is wild, that tries to kind of paint some doomsday scenario where young kids. I don't identify with this. Maybe you have a different aspect of it as from in your profession.
Yeah.
Where young kids are going onto TikTok, seeing Andrew Tate, and going into their school and killing their classmates. Yeah, I don't see that personally. I think that's a bit extreme.
But remember
Although,
what we said. Remember what we said earlier.
Yeah.
Where there are young men
Mm-hmm.
who don't have any interaction with another male.
Yeah.
For weeks.
Yeah.
Ages.
So they're killing their classmates.
So hold on. Okay, do you know what? They're not. They're not necessarily. They're not.
That is a bit extreme.
That's an extreme thing.
Okay, cool.
But what are they doing?
Yeah, and I'm not justifying it.
No, I'm saying to you.
it
Okay,
paints a narrative.
so what is so
It
then I
paints a
say
narrative.
okay, they're not killing their classrooms, but they're not killing it. But what are they doing? So what's happening to? Because it's a dearth of children.
Right,
What's happening?
So my point is this: yeah, I'm gonna give you a wild analogy to say how I see the adolescence thing and why I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tommy Robinson.
Right.
Tommy Robinson made his movie. Don't know if you've watched it. I've watched it.
Nah.
Where he talks about the grooming gangs,
Yep.
yeah, and how the UK is being Islamified,
Yep.
right? Extreme,
Yeah.
super duper extreme.
Yeah.
Are there points within that
Yeah.
that are worth examining? Sure.
Yeah.
I think any level-headed person who watches that, who's unbiased, would say, you know, actually, there is a point here and there is a point there. However, super duper extreme. I'm not walking down Tottenham High Road worried about Sharia law and that someone's gonna off me because I haven't grown a beard and I haven't done the salam this morning. Whatever it is, you get me? Same thing with adolescence. Is there points about the fact that that social media has some toxic elements and that young people have far too much access to it and it's influencing them? Yes.
Yes.
Is it extra to very extra and very extreme to assume that it's corrupting young people so much to the point where you need to be worried and we need to super duper intervene and make sure? No.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Outside of your children,
Yes.
what interactions do you have? Regular interactions do you have with young people between the ages of, say, 13 and 18?
Very minimal. Very minimal.
So how could you without interacting with young people at least on a regular basis, be it through mentoring, church, whatever? How do you know or have any concept or idea?
I think so. For example, I am connected to numerous other men, and all my colleagues and cohorts typically tend to have children. Yeah. Plus, my children are of school are age where they're at school and they're in college.
Yeah.
So, by default, being a member of society and hearing what my children are experiencing in school and what their classmates and colleagues and friends, and also by default what my and colleagues are experiencing with their children, I would pretty much say, although my ear isn't as to the ground to someone who's actively working in the areas of maybe assisted living or working with out of care leavers or in the school system, I still have a pretty good finger on the pulse. And what I can tell you is I haven't interacted with any other parents or heard any horror stories from my kids of people who were killing their classmates. I'm saying that to be facetious. I'm sure that there are issues of kids who and young people who are having challenges in and around understanding what masculinity and femininity are and how they kind of cross one another. But I don't think it's to that extreme. So that's my response to your question.
So one of the things that happens in adolescence, and I'm actually gonna get quite
technical with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is one of the things that leads to it, and one of the things that I'm aware that parents aren't aware of.
Right.
Yeah. Is the sexualized nature of interactions. So like the sending of private pictures, the receiving of private pictures. That's probably one of the biggest issues in schools and amongst young people at the moment.
Right. I'm aware of that.
That desensitizes them, yeah?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. And I've got that's conversations that's come up with other parents and stuff that I know, like, yo, did you know this? Look at this site. Make sure that you
not site. I'm talking like on your youth's phone.
Yeah, sending this, sending that, whatever. Yeah. I'm familiar with that. That's something that comes up.
So if that's a commonplace thing, yeah, because in adolescence that's kind of where it starts.
Yeah.
Where I think
it's a commonplace thing in society, though, right? As well.
No. I think adults back in the day when you didn't have pictorial evidence, you may have a phone conversation,
right,
for want of a better phrase,
right.
But you didn't have 12, 13-year-olds having phone because they didn't have phones,
right? But I'm saying to you that is a not an issue solely for children.
No, it is an issue.
Because I think they changed the law around sexting.
It is an issue for children because when children send indecent images, it's child pornography. If an adult sends an indecent image to another adult, that's perfectly fine.
No, but what I'm trying to say is they changed the law recently about sexting, because I don't know, this was about 2 or 3 years ago where they made it illegal because there were cases where boyfriends had kept XYZ and said they were
revenge.
Revenge. That's it. It was about revenge right?
yeah, yeah.
Cool, corn, sorry, whatever. But what I was trying to say to you is that in terms of that, that's a societal issue. Children are experiencing it and adults are experiencing it because society is changing. Technology is coming. It's something new. So everybody's grappling it with it at every level. It's not just young people, it's older people. Everybody's grappling with the fact that no one communicates anymore and that it's more swipe left, swipe right on Tinder, and communication skills are going down, memory skills are going down because of the introduction of technology. It's society is changing, and these are the symptoms. So it's not, I wouldn't say personally that that's something that you would attribute to red pill and the influence of on the internet of children. It's a societal thing. It's just like, for example, the introduction of the car. It revolutionized things. All of a sudden, businesses, the way that people interacted, it changed things, right?
So you're saying, in essence, so hold on, but you seem to be going. You're saying
No,
so.
what I was going to talk, the point this is just to draw us back, yeah. Unless you got a point on that.
No, go on.
Where I was,
I'm
what
still
I was,
trying to where you're talking about the Me Too. So I'm still
right.
waiting for you
So
to
what
land.
I was trying to do is I
Right.
was trying to reference. I was asking you
Yeah.
directly, what do you think of the Me Too element of things, right? In terms of all of these people who are in popular culture,
Yeah.
right, who are serving out these very public cases in
Yeah.
terms of
Okay, so
their
to answer
personal
that,
issues.
I think it feeds back into your point. I think as we come into an age where information is more readily available and people feel through the use of technology they can share information, they can share things a lot more. They're much more not happy, or we're in a society that the information age where people are going to share that type of information. This type of information that will be shared.
Right.
So in that, I think there's a duty that falls upon men. I think for years, a long time, men kind of got away with doing things, and they would never come to light. Kind of see it in families, you know what I mean? Like you get the family Christmas, someone goes, yeah, but you did this, and all of a sudden it comes to light, and it's been a secret for like 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Them days are done. And I think with men, there's been a lot of things that have happened, and a lot of things men have done, a lot of things that have they've been able to keep them in secret because of fear, intimidation, shame, guilt, so on and so forth. Them days are done.
So on that, do you think? I mean, why you were saying that?
Sorry. And as a man, and I think what a lot of men struggle with is that power dynamic that used to exist, where you could kind of maybe do things and almost shame and guilt trip women into silence.
Yeah,
it does, and they're struggling with that change in power dynamic.
Right. So I mentioned some public figures. Yeah.
Yep.
We went. What did we say? We said Noel Clark. We said Michael Ward. We said Young Philly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw in Diddy in there as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Cool. So everyone knows about what's going on with Diddy and whatever. Do you now, to draw it full circle? Right.
Yeah.
We mentioned adolescence.
Red pill
being a place where a community online where men go to complain about how they are the victims in society, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that the way that these cases are being played out, that is potentially evidence of the fact that there is some challenges with the way that men are treated in society? And I'm going to give you, just before you answer, I'm going to give you a viewpoint. This is something that I discussed recently with my wife as well, yeah? I worry, right? Charges, no charges, because sometimes you can have charges and you can go to trial and become innocent. It can be figured out that you're actually innocent, right? Even though you've been charged, right? So for looping all of these in, and some of these cases are wild, and we know that these people are up to all sorts of ungodly things, right? But in one thing that's constant in all of these cases is that you've got men, no anonymity. Yeah. The moment you get any of these particular what should we call it? Charges, allegations, accusations against you, it can be the kiss of death as a public figure. It usually is the kiss of death as a public figure to your career. So, for example, we mentioned people who've been in the game decades, like your Noel Clark, producing things, opening doors for other people, no charges, Yeah, lots of accusations. I'm not vouching for Noel because I don't know him, number one, and I don't know whether he's innocent. But the case is something that piqued my interest, so I
Mhm.
looked into it. So we're talking about a man now who's potentially his career's done,
Mhm.
where there was no charges, no criminal charges, no convictions,
Mm.
and he didn't have the anonymity to hide behind. Whereas in all of these cases, one thing that's also true is that all of these women are protected,
As they should be, because
as they should be.
they're
I
victims.
agree, as they should be
Yeah.
by anonymity.
Yeah.
However, one thing that I would take to your point that you just mentioned about victims is they're alleged victims. Because in the case,
Mm.
for example, with Noel Clark, where there is no victim because there has been no
But there was,
crime,
but
allegedly,
there
there's
was
been no charges.
no. Hold on,
Go on.
you don't have to say allegedly with no Clark. You see, it's interesting because you're
Well,
saying,
I'm just throwing it out there because I don't
hold
want
on,
to get no one in trouble, right?
hold on. We've got to separate the two because, as you said, you've taken. I think maybe because like Noel Clark's like our age and like we saw him come up in this day. And I also took quite interest in that case. There were no
Right.
charges brought against him.
Right.
There were he, as he says,
It's a witch hunt.
the police were
It's a
never
media witch hunt.
the police were never contacted. The people who he is suing,
Yeah.
the Guardian newspaper.
Correct.
That's who he's
Yeah.
in the high court battling with.
Libel case. Yeah. Yeah.
He's not in court fighting a victim.
Right.
So his case
Yeah.
is slightly different
Yes.
to the other cases where you have victims who have accused men
Right.
of
Particular
assault.
particular crimes.
They're
Yeah.
they're quite different.
Okay.
I can, but with
But can I
no,
explore?
hold on, hold
No,
on.
no, wait. Let me explore something for a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we?
Because the thing is, we keep going
No,
like,
no, no.
like
It's,
this.
this
So
no.
I need to be clear.
No, this is on this. I'm just saying to you. So I'm waiting for you to explain this to me. So when you're saying that someone is a victim, yeah, is it possible that if someone is alleges a crime,
Yeah.
and then it goes to trial,
Yeah.
and that the person gets found who's accused of the crime not guilty,
Yeah.
that person who's a victim would at that point technically not be a victim, right? Because there was no crime in the eyes of the law.
No, the person was. You see, again, the person wasn't just because you're found, and this is, we know this. So
I'm just playing out.
No, I find that slightly facetious because we're going to sit here and say, oh, because someone was found not guilty means there wasn't a crime. It doesn't mean a crime never took place. It just means, in the eyes of the law, based on the evidence that's produced, and we know from cases of sexual assault and rape to find evidence, they are probably the hardest cases when you take to court to prove guilty or not guilty, especially if it's historic. In essence, for you, what you have to go through, and the best example I could give you, what you would have to go through to prove what's happened would further cause more distress.
I'm 100% as the father of two daughters. Yeah. Husband of a wife.
Yeah.
And obviously son of a mother. I'm all there for. I can't at no point stand up for or on the behalf of anyone who's going to perpetrate any kind of I know you got to be careful about what you say on social media. Any of those kind of egregious
acts of violence against women,
violence
and aggression against women,
and aggression, whether it be bedroom relating activities or any other kind of activities. Right. However, the point I'm trying to make is that ultimately, in every scenario, right, there are two sides of the coin, right? And just as I'm the proud father of two daughters, and I would be totally ready to go wild, yeah, if there was anyone who committed any kind of assault against them. If my son was in a position where an alleged crime had taken place, I would very much be against automatically assuming that there was a victim of a crime unless that was proved in court and was found to be lawful. Because what you're doing then is by automatically assuming and dedicating the official title victim to somebody, by default, then that means that the other person in the party is a criminal because they have committed the crime. In order for there to be a victim, there has to be there's a criminal, right?
I would say, to wrap this up, to kind of I think we're having very different conversations with our sons. I think we're having very, very, very different conversations with our sons, because I can say,
Yeah.
with my son,
Yeah.
and with men, and I think what
Yeah.
what the issue is, and it
Go on.
kind of ties back into what I was saying, is it's about positioning.
Right.
I make my son very aware
Mm-hmm.
how you position yourself in the
Mhm.
situations you find yourself in.
Mhm.
A lot of men find themselves in unfortunate circumstances
Mhm.
because of their positioning.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's almost like, again, I'll use another analogy. What's that, like, like you committed the crime, but your brethrens, and you're around your brethren, so all of you get done. I can't remember what it's called.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, kind of a conspiracy case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you never pulled out the knife, or you never bust a shot.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong
Association.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that does happen to men.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
the conversation I'm having with my son,
Mhm.
I'm saying, brother, what are you doing around a man in the first place?
Mhm.
Always consider your positioning. Almost the way you speak. How are you positioning yourself? Where are you? Why are you even placed in that position
Mhm.
in the first place to
Yeah.
allow somebody
Mhm.
to be a victim of that?
Yeah.
And if that's happening, it's not just a bad luck case, or it all went wrong, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. You're positioning yourself completely wrong.
Yeah.
You're approaching things completely wrong,
Mhm.
and you have to understand what the power dynamic looks like.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand those factors, you're going to find yourself in a certain position,
You're gonna
and
find yourself some doo-doo.
in some and I'm not going to be able to help you, no
I
matter
get that.
how much I love
get that.
you, no matter how
And you
much
know what?
can I help you.
I love those conversations that you're having with your son. However,
Mhm.
I think that they're it's a little bit I gotta think of the right word. That doesn't sound too bad. But I think it's a little bit kind of for lack of a better word, presumptive on your part to think that some of the other young men who
Yeah,
are finding themselves in this situation
yeah,
haven't had um, similar conversations with their parents and haven't found themselves. Because what I'm trying to say is, look, there's scumbags out there, right? And there's scumbags who are doing horrible things and they deserve to get the book thrown at them, and the victims of those scumbags deserve justice. So let's just throw that out there. But the point I'm trying to make, and I'm trying to wheel it back in,
I know
I'm
I
trying
know
to reel it.
exactly what
I'm
you're
trying to
saying.
reel it back
Yeah,
into the red pill.
yeah,
And the fact that we're talking about masculinity,
yeah,
and we're talking about the fact that in modern times, red pill is a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon of a group of men who have popped up in society saying we feel disenfranchised because we are under attack. And some of them, they've all come from different areas at the same type of thing. And what the point that I was making is that does a lot of the things that we see playing out in society feed into the fact that some of these people actually have a point, being that men who are alleged who were brought charge. I don't know what the correct way to say it, but these guys who were
yeah.
kind of up for particular crimes because someone said, all right, you know what, 2 years ago you done XYZ. These are guys, normal people. They could be our sons, right?
Not my son.
All right, fair enough. But they could be your son in terms of
Of
their
age,
age.
or yeah,
That's
cool.
what I'm talking about.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just what I'm talking about. So they could be your son in terms of their age. However, from the moment the allegations come out, they are not protected by society with anonymity.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say to you is it not unfair that
Life ain't fair, bro.
no, that's fine, but is it not fair
Yeah.
in the judicial system, yeah, that
That both parties aren't
both
made
parties
aren't kept anonymous.
yeah,
Yes and no. I understand from your perspective.
no,
I do
interesting.
understand. I do understand. But what you tend to find,
Mm-hmm.
especially in predatory cases, yeah,
Yeah.
once one victim, because the majority of, and I'm not going to make it a kind of a male female thing, yeah.
Right.
Once one person comes forward,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
there generally tends to be, you find a pattern of behavior,
Right.
and more people will come forward.
Right.
If it's a completely, and because it's so difficult,
Mm-hmm.
be it DNA evidence,
Right.
so on and so forth, to
Mm-hmm.
prove.
Yep.
What you're gonna need, and this is what often happens,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna need to prove a pattern of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And once somebody, and it is harsh, and this is why it's so vital
Mm-hmm.
that we teach young men about their power dynamic and what they feel maybe they're right or is not their right, or so on and so forth, and ensuring you're not placing yourself in a vulnerable situation. What happens is a lot of our young men place themselves in vulnerable situations by saying things and doing things which they
Right.
believe are socially acceptable,
Right.
and they're not. And
Agreed.
they are leaving themselves completely open,
Mhm.
to they may be spurious
But
claims.
what's that got to do
Hold
with
on.
anonymity?
Hold on. I've just kind of explained what it does,
Mhm.
because I'll use I use a
Because
situation.
isn't
Hold on. I use this.
isn't it using them as bait then?
No. Yes. You know,
So
there is.
and by using them
did,
as a bait, isn't that unfair to them?
no. Did you hear what I said? Why they use them as bait?
I
No.
understand.
No. I'm asking. Did you hear what I said?
I heard what
What
you
did I
said.
say?
Yeah. Listen. What you said is that typically in those kind of cases that you have
A pattern.
a pattern.
Yes.
Right. But what I'm trying to say
And it's
to you,
not fair.
yeah, but what I'm trying to say to you is that
But life's not fair.
life's, well, I don't know. I think personally, yeah, 'cause I think that this is a much wider topic than we're going to be able to get rid of.
Yeah. No.
Get through in this
100%.
episode, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
But
genuinely,
it all feeds
I
into masculinity. You're right.
I genuinely think that these are some of the discussions
Mm-hmm.
that need to be had around certain areas of masculinity, because
Yes.
it's pretty linear. People always think, okay, well, masculinity is all about the guy who wants to be alpha male and he wants to be the provider, the protector, and he's old hat and he's not accepting of women's this and rights and blah 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 blah. But what I do think is real that isn't being heard. You understand? And this is just trying to look at things
And give the other. No,
from
I
a
agree.
devil's advocate
Mm-hmm.
position, right? Is that I do think that there is a genuine complaint, and I use this kind of Me Too situation
Yeah.
to illustrate that, of a subsection of men in general who are saying, you know what, society is becoming unfair because we are expected to be held to a particular standard
Yeah.
as men. We're expected, for example, to go out on the front line and fight wars, to do the heavy lifting,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to be without repute.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment that something happens, society will not protect us to the same degree that it will protect our feminine counterparts. So, for example, if someone comes out with a spurious claim and says, I don't know, for example, Johnny over there is a kiddie fiddler.
Mm-hmm.
That person is
very interesting phraseology.
Yeah, that person is allowed to come out then and name who Johnny is.
Yeah.
Put him on front line.
Yeah.
Come like the this is the what was it? The Coldplay, right? The guy was with his little side piece, got caught on the camera, and bang, that was the end. One minute.
Cooked.
That was the end of both of their careers. And right, whatever, fine. But that is an example of the fact that when you do not have anonymity, yeah, right. Although it's a
Bro,
very
there was a camera.
no, wait. It's a very different context. But what I'm trying to show you is that the moment that your identity is put out there, how easy it is for the YouTube sleuths and the social media private investigators to go out there and do a whole dossier, put you front street, put your family front street. And it's very difficult for anyone when that happens, regardless of the context, for them to recover. So what I'm trying to say to you is, I think, and I'm just throwing it out there, but there's no need for us to go back and forth on it. But I think it's a really good example of the fact that in society now with the Me Too movement, that's an example of where men are saying, you know what, this is unfair to us. We're not being treated with the same thing. And you're going to say, all right, well, life's unfair and whatever it is. But I think you're pandering to the gallery a little bit.
I'm not.
I really do.
You can say that all you want. I totally disagree. I think it actually feeds into an idea of masculinity. I think it feeds into an idea of discipline.
Yes.
It feeds into an idea of control, controlling your actions, controlling your words, controlling yourself. I think a lot of men lack. I'll be honest. They lack discipline.
Yes.
They lack self-control. They lack thought.
Yes.
They're not mindful.
Yes.
And all of these things, all of these inadequacies in men lead to for want of a better phrase, loose balling behavior, where man will say certain things, man will do certain things, and they think it's perfectly acceptable. All that's happened, all that's happened because societally there are loads of things where the power dynamic is completely different and it's in favor of men. Yeah, completely different. If you're a woman, I can't be bothered to
unequal pay.
I can't really,
blah,
all
blah,
that.
blah,
You
blah.
can reel it off.
Yeah.
But what a man's saying is, bro.
No.
You see, let me finish, bro. I
Go.
gave you your wrapping up monologue, yeah?
Go for it.
See if you are a man and you are disciplined, you're mindful in your speech and how you behave around women, yeah?
Yes.
There will not be a dossier on you.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They can't, so what? And I was speaking up to a friend about this the other day where an accusation was made at work.
Yeah.
And the same thing you spoke about off camera.
Yeah.
People came out and said, who? Chris? Nah, no, sorry, no. That is not Chris's nature.
Right.
For myself, I know what the accusation would be against me. It comes.
Well, let's not make it personal. Let's
no,
not make
hold
it
on.
personal. It's not about.
No, hold on. Let me finish.
Go for
If
it.
you conduct yourself, people cannot create that dossier. However, if you're loose bar and you say what you want and you've done what you want and you've been this, that, and the other, that dossier will be created.
I think it's a simplistic argument.
Done.
I'm just going to say my last piece and then I'll give it over to you for final comments here. I think that's a simplistic argument. And the reason why I say that it's a simplistic argument that really doesn't take into account is for laws and society's kind of protocols are not made to protect the strongest. So when you talk about men being disciplined and kind of being on point and living to a certain thing, what you really talk about is the best amongst us. It could be the majority, it could be the minority. I'm not getting into figures or percentages, but what I'm talking about, and this is the reference that I gave you when you used reparations, which I thought was a little bit left field, right? Central Park 5. So Central Park 5, I don't know if you're aware of that story. Central Park 5, 5 young black males in the 80s in New York. A lady gets attacked brutally by someone who's a serial killer. 5 boys in the wrong place at the wrong time, convicted, sent to jail, have a horrendous time in jail as minors, blah, blah, blah. And later on are acquitted as being exonerated, as being not guilty. However, obviously, later on it's found out that there was a serial killer who was on the loose, who was going around and assaulting women, and that was the person who actually perpetrated the crime. Great series, very emotional. If you get a chance, I ain't seen it on Netflix. How They See Us. How They
When
they see us, something of that nature is what it's called. But if you put in the Central Park 5, you'll find stuff. But the point I'm making is that is a prime example of the weaker amongst us. These are guys who've got swept up. They've got no anonymity. They find themselves in these cases. So I think it's more analogous to, for example, and I'm not going to keep naming people's names, but the entertainer who's on the up, who is doing things. And if we're looking at things from a non-biased perspective, just an entertainer, maybe the person's a sports person or a TV personality. They're doing things in their community. They're buying. They're trying to get their family out of poverty, and bang, without this person maybe isn't the disciplined, higher level person, one of themselves. Maybe they're just somebody who, like the other person, there's guys in the Central Park 5, wrong place, wrong time. They've been tarnished with this brush. A spurious allegation is being made, and they're not protected with anonymity. And that doesn't necessarily need to be the celebrity. It could be the average Joe who is in a environment somewhere who gets a spurious claim against them. I think I'm putting it out there, that men who would say society isn't protecting us because we don't have anonymity, to at least say, all right, try us against a jury of our peers before you put this kiss of death against us and make us, give us a scarlet letter where we can't live in our community without people whispering behind our backs when we walk down the street. I personally think that is a legitimate gripe if someone is red pill and they're saying blah, 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 blah. So I think exploring it, there's a lot going on, masculinity, bro. I think it's behind the media attack and yada yada yada. There's a lot going on. Anyway, final thoughts for you, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one because again, using I think go and watch that Central Park 5 it's a brilliant documentary. But I do think, and you spoke about it as well.
Mhm.
We're living in a modern age, and if you can't adapt to the modern age that we're living in, so enough man, it like lived in a pre Me Too days. You with me?
Mhm.
And they still got that mentality.
Mhm.
If you've still got that mentality, and you still want to operate in society and think, oh well, it's unfair. Good luck to you, mate.
Mm.
Yeah, that's all I can say. But I would advise all young men
Mhm.
um, to begin to have discipline in your thoughts, in your actions, in your words, and that isn't something that is post Me Too. That's something, as you said, all men should
Mhm.
aspire to have, and we
100%.
should hold that standard as men, and that's what we should be programming into our young men, that you should discipline yourself and you should make sure, because with that discipline you won't find, or you will reduce significantly the likelihood of those things happening to you. And I say it in all words: physically, emotionally, and the words that come out of your mouth. But we're gonna wrap it up.
Yes, man.
It's been emotional.
Very interesting conversation on that one.
Been
Yes, man.
emotional. So yes, let's wrap this one up. Another one on rum and reasoning.
Rum and reasoning.